Right, so welcome everyone. We're going to explore such the experience of knowing intellectually what you want, yet somehow not being able to move cleanly towards it. You might have done your mindset work, healing work, spiritual work, manifestation work even, and still found that there are a few areas where the results don't fully land. So what I want to show you today is that this is often not because you're broken or undisciplined and not trying hard enough. Very often it's because there's a hidden contradiction within your system. Where this is where your thoughts might be saying yes, but another part of you is saying no. And when that happens, the signal that you put out gets scrambled. And as we know, the universe then reflects back the signal to us in that same scrambled manner. So, what I want for you today is firstly, I want you to understand and appreciate what inner conflict actually is and why it slows down your life progress so much. And then secondly, I want you to actually experience something, not just hear about it and not just hear about the concepts and ideas and so on, because I want this to be practical and I want this to move beyond just the things that we know in our minds. And thirdly, I want you to leave with a clear sense of how to go deeper with this work if what you experienced today really resonates with you. So we'll come to that later on into the session. But ultimately, by the end of this class, my aim is that you'll have a much clearer sense of how to identify hidden contradictions and conflicts, how to target them, and then how to begin transforming them. How best to be here? To really get from the most from tonight's session, I'd encourage you to treat this more like an experience rather than a lecture. So if you can, try to remove any other distractions you've got. If you've got I've done this myself before. I've gone onto webinars and classes, and I've got YouTube running in the background. I've got messages coming up all over the place. I'm looking at my emails. Try as best as you can to remove those distractions so that you can be present here. And as much as you can, also stay open-minded. Bring with you a beginner's mindset, as if you just cleared everything out and you don't know anything. There's an old story about a young monk who he's just graduated and comes up to the head monk, and the head monk invites him in and it invites him in for tea. So the young monk is holding his cup out, and the senior monk is pouring tea in there, and the young monk is saying, "Oh, I'm so looking forward to working with you here because I've read everything about Buddhism. I know about all the different mantras, and I've studied deep into all the different theories, and then suddenly realizes that the hot tea is pouring all over his hand. He's going, "Ow, ow, ow! What's going on here?" And the old wise monk says, "Well, if your tea is so full, you won't be able to receive any more." And because he had come with all this, I know everything already here. I'm ready to go. It's like, no, come with an empty cup, and you're more likely to get tea and not your fingers burned. I'm not burning anyone's fingers here. Um, and most importantly, as well, notice what you notice in what we're going to be doing today. That's going to be a key thing that you're going to hear me say. Just noticing what you notice, then switches your awareness around to being aware and being able to pay attention rather than thinking you already know what's going to happen. And if you do like taking notes, that's absolutely fine. But the real value of today will come from engaging in what we're going to be doing and what's happening within your own system as we go. You'll get a lot more from experiencing it. And when we're finished with this today, there'll be a recording. I'll send out the recording to you. So don't worry, you're not going to miss anything. And I'd also invite you to reserve judgment. By that, I mean judgment of yourself, of the information, of the process, of what comes up. Just stay curious in that beginner's mindset. Because often what prevents people from seeing something much more deeply is not a lack of intelligence. It's because they're assuming they already know, and they've thereby kind of like it accidentally blinded themselves. They put the blinders on in their knowledge. What I'm going to do is just a very, very quick exercise here, just to just get us all here. Because we've probably had a long week, we've had a long day beforehand, just coming here. So what I'd like to do is make sure that we're all here together and we're as here as fully as we can be. So there's a little tool or technique that I have called the pull yourself together exercise. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to get ourselves into what we term the heart space. So take a big deep breath. Imagine that's connected up to your head. And as you breathe out and your body kind of like collapses a bit, imagine it's taking your head down into your chest. But don't actually do it because physically we can't. You don't injure yourself. Take another big deep breath. Imagine that connects up to any other parts of your head that didn't come the first time round. And as you breathe out and your body sort of folds a bit, imagine that's taking the head down. So we've got a head and heart operating from the same space. For those matrix people here, that you'll recognize that as being the field of the heart or the heart space. This is just a quick and dirty way of getting there. And now, whilst we're there, imagine if there were parts of your consciousness or awareness that have been spread out all over the place. A part that's still working on something from earlier on today. Another part of you that's worried about what we're going to be doing tomorrow or what you had for dinner earlier on and so on. Just reach out for the first direction that catches your attention, for a piece of you that's out there somewhere. It could be anywhere, it could be left, right, up, down, backwards, forwards. Just the first direction that catches your attention, reach out in that direction, connect up with that part of yourself, and invite that part of yourself to come home. You're not going to force it, you're just allowing it to come back. If you want to feel that thing coming back, you can, but equally, it's all right if you don't feel anything. And whilst that's going on, notice a second direction and reach out in that direction and connect up with that part of yourself and allow that part to come back. And then a third direction. Again, could be anywhere, left, right, up, down, back, behind, in front. Allow that part to come back. And then finally send out a signal in all directions. Like there was a big ball that was at the center of you that just expanded outwards. And it goes right out to the edge of the planet, the edge of the galaxy, if you like, tapping all those parts of yourself on the shoulder and asking for them to come home. And parts might be coming in fast, might be coming in slow. There could be, yeah, with no idea really what they've been up to necessarily. Just allow that to just be. And we're not looking for every single part. We're just looking for the parts that we can get hold of so you can have the maximum you right now that you can get. Okay. And then just if you bring your attention back here, those parts might still be coming in. That's okay. Just let them. There's always somebody that's trailing behind and somebody that's running a bit late. If we have that happen in our actual lives, and of course, parts of our consciousness or awareness could also be the same as well. In fact, maybe that's the part of your consciousness that makes you late. Okay. Oh, just one last thing as well. We're going to the session today was scheduled for 75 minutes. Okay. Okay, so what's the problem then? One of the reasons the work that we're going to be doing today matters so much is that many of the people drawn to this are not beginners. You've already been doing inner work. You've been exploring healing, mindset work, manifestation, spiritual practices, energy work, personal development. But yet there are still certain behaviors or patterns that remain stubbornly in place. You know what you want, you understand a lot, you may have even had some real big breakthroughs before, but still something feels blocked or delayed or inconsistent. Now, that's often a sign that the issue is not simply a lack of knowledge. There's actually an internal hidden contradiction. This is something that becomes very clear when you start working with it consistently, not just once, but as a process. And this is the essence of the whole masterclass that we're going to be doing today, where your thoughts say, yes, yes, I want that. I'm going to go for that. I'm going to make this change. I'm going to transform this thing about myself. But a hidden part says no. So your conscious mind may say, yes, I want that relationship. Yes, I want the visibility. Yes, I want purpose-led work. Yes, I want abundance. Yes, I want to level up. But if another part of your system is holding fear, contradiction, old beliefs, competing loyalties even, or unresolved reaction patterns, then that part of you is still saying no. And when those two signals are running at the same time, what you often experience is confusion or delay or things that we call self-sabotage. You might use up a lot of energy, feel stressed out, fatigued, have inconsistency in terms of results that you get, or just feeling like you're going around in circles, circling the same issue? Just a quick show of hands. Anyone feels that kind of thing going on in some part of their life? Yeah, it's yeah, it seems to be going round and round in circles. Oh. Now, the cost of that hidden conflict is actually often much greater than people realize. Because it isn't only that you don't get the result, is that you also start leaking energy. When I say leaking energy, you start using up more energy than you otherwise would be. That the whole pushing and pulling inside yourself. You end up delaying decisions, you end up second guessing yourself, you end up revisiting the same emotional patterns, emotional ground again. You might lose momentum, you definitely lose a lot of time, and sometimes you even lose trust in yourself. And if that pattern, the hidden conflict pattern goes unchanged right the way out into the future, of course, that cost compounds. And it's not just externally, it could be financially, it could be relationships, it could be professionally, the external stuff, but internally as well. That's when you can begin to feel sort of fragmented, frustrated, and lost over time. Almost like your energy isn't fully available to you in your actual life. For those of you who don't know me as well, I just want to give you a little bit of a context into why I care so much about this. So, when I didn't start doing this kind of work full time, before this life, it feels like that now. I was in a fairly successful corporate career, and on the surface, everything was going really great. I was well treated, well paid. I had plenty of career prospects, plenty of opportunities. But at that same time, fate or destiny sent me a severe back injury. Thanks. That led me down the rabbit hole to learning some really powerful energetic tools. Some of you here come from matrix energetics, so you're familiar with that kind of level of protocol. And something that at that particular point began to happen. So I could feel myself being pulled more and more towards helping people to grow and helping people to heal. But there was another part of me that couldn't let go of the career I'd spent years building. And what that created was this constant internal tug of war. It just created a lot of stress, frustration, procrastination, financial fear. Like, if I give up that career, then what? Am I going to be able to get all this magic woo-woo stuff to be able to pay? Right? And self-doubt. Can I even do it? And this ongoing sense of pushing and pulling against myself. And even worse, I started to feel like I was a fraud in both worlds. My corporate work, because I knew I wanted to be doing something else and something more powerful, even though I was supposed to be leading people and telling them what a wonderful company it was and what a great place to be. There's me looking at the door trying to get out. And in the healing work, because I wasn't fully committing myself to it. So at that point, I did what most people do. You go find a coach. You do coaching, do mindset work, the spiritual work I was talking about earlier on. Go diving into the Akashic records to find out what you're really supposed to be doing. Doing deeper personal development, basically trying to figure out which way I was supposed to go. But the internal conflict didn't go away. All that happened is just became more sophisticated and more complex. I understood it more, but it didn't change it. Right? At that at that point, that's when I was introduced to Tom Stone and his work in emotional mastery and human software engineering. And for the first time, someone was speaking directly to what I was experiencing. I wasn't confused, I was just internally conflicted. And once I started working with that properly, not just at the level of thinking, but the level of what was actually happening in my internal system, that's when things began to shift. And since then, I've spent over 13 years applying this work deeply, working with hundreds of clients, many of them high performing people, and refining this into something practical and usable, and developing it as well at the same time. And what's become very clear is this: it's not about fixing one problem at a time. It's about resolving the contradiction in the system itself. Because when that happens, everything else starts to work better. So why does this inner conflict happen? Well, there are many possible sources, but some of the most common are conflicting beliefs, mixed directives, learned rules from parents, teachers, your culture, whether it's religion or institutions or society, past experiences that have taught you a deeper system, something very different from what the mind now believes, and lots of rules that you've internalized. But the problem is, what your parents told you compared to what your teacher told you is compared to what society tells you compared to they're all giving you different rules. And you may consciously believe in one thing, but deeper inside your system, there may still be other different instructions that are still running. For example, someone you might say to yourself, I want visibility. I want to be out there in the world doing my work. You don't want to be seen. You might say, I want purpose. But at the same time, there's something else running underneath that. If I choose that, I might lose security. That's where I was, trapped in that pattern. You might say to yourself, I want spiritual alignment. But at the same time, there's another part of you saying, if I fully become realize of who I am, the people around me might reject me. I mean, literally, I remember Tom used to say that as you become a more enlightened person and you grow, you will lose a lot of the people around you. He said the good news is you'll find more enlightened and better friends, but at the same time, it doesn't stop the fear of actually, I might lose people I currently have. And these contradictions often don't feel like clear thoughts. What happens is they show up as reactions. You end up feeling them coming up inside. And the reason they can be very well hidden is because they contradict one another, so the mind just can't logically process them. They don't make sense, so they end up getting suppressed. So one of the key things today I want you to get or come away with is that your body already knows where that conflict is active. It knows where that conflict lives. The conscious mind might not have clean access to it, but through your body and your awareness, that deeper system does know where it is. And that's why body-based awareness can be so powerful. Because the body often reveals what the mind is either rationalizing, avoiding, or simply unable to see clearly. Now, that doesn't mean we ignore thinking and ignore thoughts. It just means that we have to stop assuming that thought is the whole picture or that we can think our way out of our problems. The next part I want to talk a little bit about is congruence. All right. Just very quickly, in case people are not 100% sure on this, because I can't believe this. After all the years of work and so on, sometimes when I mention the word congruence, people still have like a question mark over their head. Like, what? What do you mean by that? Congruence is when you have alignment between the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act. Now, that's the simplest way I can describe a person being congruent. It means that they are aligned internally. How their emotions, their ideas, and what they do all line up. And when these are well aligned, there is great strength in each individual person. You have clarity, you have certainty, direction, you have greater capacity to do more. But when they're split, then there's leakage, there's doubt, there's confusion, there's delays, internal friction, fear, and conflicted movement. The old one step forward and two steps back, or two steps forward and one step back, depending how well you're behaving. And this is one of the reasons people can be doing all the right things on the outside, but still not be getting the result that they expected to get, because the system that's underneath isn't congruent enough. Now, I'm doing a whole lot of talking here at the moment, so I would like us to play a game. Is everyone up for a game? A quick game? Now, I'm calling the name game. Okay. It's a quick alignment game. We're going to play with something that's often termed kinesiology or muscle testing. Some of you may already be familiar with it, but it's good fun to play with anyway. So what I'd like you to do is, you don't have to do it on screen so I can see it, but just for yourself. What I'd like you to do is hold both your hands in front of you and you put your dominant one on top. Yeah. Where if I guess most people might be right-handed or left-handed, or I'm actually semi, so I'm just all confused all over the place. So what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to try and push down on the hand that's underneath, but then the hand underneath is going to try and resist. Okay, so just play with that just for a moment. Just give the top hand a little push on the one underneath, and you can feel when they're resisting each other. So we're just testing. Say, okay, so our arms obviously work. Now, again, you don't have to put a lot of force. Just notice that there is some resistance against yourself. Now, what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to say your name. And by the way, say the version of your name that you're most familiar with and resonate the most with. For instance, if your name is Andrew, is it Andy or is actually Andrew the name you prefer? So use your preferred name. So you start off because I'll start off here as well. But obviously, don't say if you say my name, it won't work for you. So you're going to say your own name in your head. So if I go, my name is Y, and then I push down and I resist, I can feel that. Okay, so I can sense what's happening, up my arm, shoulders, and so on. So my name is Y. Okay, so just do that a couple more times. Say your own name and feel that, and notice what that feels like. Now, I'd like everyone to say, my name is Mickey Mouse, and then try it again. Or you can try a name that's not yours. Say try say your parents' name. Okay, so if I go, my name is Choi, and notice how that feels. And just to retest that again, come back to saying your own name in between that. So my name is Y, my name is Choi, my name is Y, my name is Mickey Mouse. Each time reset and then test again. Don't run straight into the same test. Okay. If your arms are getting tired, then just put in a little less pressure. And just try one more. Let's try. Let's check everyone's names here. Okay, let's all go. Let's all try. So say your own name again. We're just calibrating that again and push and check. Okay. Now everyone say my name is Barbara and try it. And I hope you start seeing a pattern emerging here. Typically, what happens is when you say your own name, the resistance is strong. When you say a name that isn't yours, you say I am Donald Duck. And what you'll find is there's a weakness in there. Like you can move the arm a lot more easily, or the other arm struggles to fight against it. Because what happens is our bodies know when something is true, aligned, and congruent. When we this is how they used kinesiology to check through whether somebody's got this particular issue going on, or is it a bacterial infection, is it this and that, and so on. Because all the information that we have about ourselves is already within us. Now, your body also equally knows when something isn't true. Like when you said a name that wasn't your name, you weren't aligned. There's really, really good example of this when talking about alignment. That's my Kung Fu instructor was talking about this last week. He said he'd been watching videos where they had people holding weights out on like bodybuilders and so on, holding weights out. And then what they do is they have them holding weights down and have them tilt their head. And when they tilt their head, they can't hold that same weight anymore. Just that physical misalignment can cause the whole structure to weaken. So if we extrapolate that down to deeper and deeper and deeper levels that are much more subtle, our body can tell when we're not aligned. Now, as I said, this demonstration just to show how your body knows when something is true and aligned and congruent, but also when it isn't. And before some smart aleck does suggest this, no, you can't use it to try and figure out the lottery numbers. Kinesiology only shows you what your body already knows to be true about yourself. Doesn't necessarily know what's out there, right? You can try it, but I'm not taking any responsibility for any money you lose on tickets you buy. Okay, so another really important point is that one hidden pattern can also affect multiple life areas at the same time. So you can have one inner conflict that's affecting you across multiple spheres of your life. So yeah, it may look like separate issues on the surface, maybe about money, maybe it's about confidence, purpose, relationships, that visibility thing again, about wanting to be out there and be seen, leadership, emotional overwhelm. But underneath it, there may be just one core contradiction that's feeding all the different expressions. This is why sometimes people make progress in one area, and then find the same energetic structure showing up somewhere else. It's like the pattern hasn't been fully resolved. It's just changed into a different costume, but it's still running underneath there. So you focused on one area. I'm going to fix my relationship, and then you find, purpose goes down the drain. It's because they were interlinked. Because these things we've just labeled work, life, relationship, family. And you cut off your family where you decide to. Is it just you and your significant other? Is it you and significant other and their brothers and sisters and the in-laws? We define those kind of things, and then we expect the rest of the universe to also match those descriptions. And it doesn't. So just where we think, oh, this is only a money problem. No, it might actually be a whole relationship problem and a purpose problem and a confidence problem. Just because we've labeled it one thing doesn't mean it actually is. And this is another reason why these things get hidden, because it's too confusing for the poor little mind that can only manage 15 items a second. This is happening at the subconscious level, which is running more like 11 million items a second. Before we go into the most important exercise in this whole masterclass, just pause for a second. Notice what you're noticing right now, because this is where most people either stay present or they start drifting back into thinking. So just stay with it. Going on to the hidden patterns then. What I'd like you to do, now I did send this out earlier on in the email. In one of the emails I sent, I was asking you to think about an area in your life, a specific area where you really want to get a good result, but something in you keeps stopping it, but you don't know what it is. You've tried various different things to try and get at it, but it's still not moving. So it could be something that we term self-sabotage. It could be procrastination. It could be a repeated emotional reaction. It could be confusion. It could be a feeling of being pulled in different directions. Bring that area to mind, just for this moment. Just allow yourself to think about that. Oh, by the way, we're moving into another exercise now, in case anyone isn't sure. And so think about that thing for a moment, and now instruct your body and your body awareness to show you where it is. You're giving a command. You're just saying, right, body, show me where this thing lives. And just notice where you feel it. Not the story behind this problem, but the feeling. Where do you sense it in your body? Just notice where the signal appears. Don't worry if it doesn't make any sense either. In fact, that's kind of part of the point. So just notice where it is. Is it around your throat or inside your throat somewhere? Is it more around your head? Is it something on your chest, across your shoulders, stomach area, gut? Now just stay with that sensation, just notice it, and notice what qualities it has. Is it tight? Is it heavy? Is it sharp? Is there any movement in it, or is it just still? Is it a solid still thing? How dense is it? Does it have a temperature? Is it warm or cold? Do you get a sense that it's a wide kind of feeling, wide space feeling, or is it really, really localized down to a single point? And if you happen to notice if there's any color or texture or even sound relating to this, just notice. There's no judge, don't judge it, no judgment, no forcing, just be curious. And just keep your attention on it. Just pay attention to what it's doing. If your attention starts shifting and moving to other areas and other parts, just let that happen. Remember, you're just noticing what you notice. Now keep your attention on that. And then notice where the center of that thing is, that feeling. If you're not sure where the center is, just tell your awareness just to show you. And then it'll be the part that catches your attention immediately. We'll also be learning today that your body actually does what you tell it to do, and your awareness does what you tell it to do. Often we're just telling it the wrong things. So notice the center of that thing, and then start moving away from the center. Like you're moving out and away from your body even, and right the way out. Imagine that you're moving out beyond yourself and beyond your body, right out into a big, open, expansive space. If you bump into any other additional layers of that space, then just keep going. Just teleport yourself out and out and out and out and out until you get to a space that just feels like it goes on and on and on and it's infinite. So what you're doing is you're taking your awareness outside of that pattern and then further away from that pattern. It's just a game of awareness. Don't worry, your body is still where it is. And then when you get that sense that you've reached that space that just goes on and on and on forever, or it's just like a big open, expansive space, then just gently bring yourself back to here again. I'll give everyone a moment just to do that. Okay, and then when you're back, when you're ready, think about the same issue again and notice what you feel right now. Notice your opinion of the issue. Notice your thoughts and the way you feel about it. And notice if you can feel something else showing up, whether it's in a different location or if it's in the same location that it's slightly changed or there's a difference to it. In fact, I think we're doing okay on time at the moment. So I'm going to open this up just to ask if anyone wants to just feedback what they've noticed has happened to that feeling that they had when they thought about the big bad problem that they had going on. So feel free if you just want to, if you can either just put your hand up. Oh, go ahead, Karen.
Oh, what I noticed was it was in my right shoulder blade, and the picture that I got was a knife, and the words I got was feeling like I'm being stabbed in the back,
Okay.
and it was very hot, and it was like a dull stabbing, if that makes sense. So it wasn't
Yeah.
painful, it was just like a deep digging in. But when I got to the end of it and I moved myself away from it, so I was like looking at the back of myself,
Hmm.
I could still feel that it was warm, but there was no, digging into it. That
Okay.
that part had gone.
Okay. So thank you for that. And when you think about the issue, how do you feel about it now? Because obviously you started off with an issue and then it showed up that knife in the shoulder thing.
Yeah. Um, I still think I've got work to do on it
Okay.
because
But
it's something that's gone on for a long time. It's like this hamster wheel.
yeah.
You come off it for a bit and then you find yourself jumping back on it again and then you're
Okay.
off it and on it.
Well,
So
actually, if I tell you what, let's do this live. Actually think about the thing
yeah,
and then notice exactly what shows up in or around the body.
it's always this tension. The words I get is like carrying the weight of the world on my
Right.
shoulders. So it's
Okay.
like hot from my mid back right up over my shoulders and up back of my neck.
Brilliant. First of all, it's really good because your body is obviously showing you it's obeying instructions. When you said show me where this thing is, it's being very visceral with it and noticing it. So that's excellent. The second thing I say that was really great about that is the hot knife thing has moved on to something else, which means that that hot knife feeling, there's a good chance that that isn't coming back in the same way again, if ever.
Yeah.
So, uh, I'm not going to ask everyone to name what their issues were, but notice that you sort of did that without going into analyzing what it could have caused it and where it comes from and what it could be, because your body already knows where the actual information for that pattern is.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been just asking it for. So brilliant. So thank you very much for that, Karen. So what just happened? You know, what happened was you accessed that pattern through body awareness and not through mental analysis. And instead of running away from it, you actually turn towards it. You put more attention and focus and awareness towards that pattern. Because what we've been doing all this time, when we've been running into something uncomfortable or disturbing within ourselves, we've either suppressed it, run away from it, just generally avoided it, or in the worst case scenario, we've just let it overtake us and have a little boohoo moment and cry about it for a bit. But then it doesn't change it from being there. So what we're doing instead now is we're actually beginning to change our relationship to it. And for some of you, the charge that you initially felt may already start feeling different even now with that what little we've done to it so far. For some, the issue might feel lighter, it might seem quieter, or there's even sometimes a sense that it's more spacious. You've got a bit more room to move. And for others, you might just simply feel more aware of it. Like you go, okay, this thing that I think about all the time when I'm worried, when I look at my bank account and I'm getting really worried, interesting. There's always like a warm feeling that I can feel somewhere over to the side of my gut or something. And all of that's really useful to notice because what that is whenever we've had these internal conflicts show up, there's actually been a corresponding signal coming from within ourselves, coming from our awareness. It's just most of the time we've just assumed that, oh, that's just there because it's part of the problem. It isn't. What that actually is that's your awareness, your deeper awareness communicating with you saying, hey, pay attention to this. Look over here. This is where the actual thing lives. And even the smallest move, the smallest shift in the way that we perceive and the way we interact can shift the whole relationship between our conscious awareness and that hidden pattern. And effectively, what that then does is it opens the doorway. We start having a new type of communication with the patterns that are going on inside. Now, this is an important distinction because what we've done just now is meaningful, but of course is not a full system. You've had an opening, you at first contact, you've maybe even started to create a real shift. And what you've just experienced here is the very beginning of how this work actually functions. Even that small shift shows you something really important, that this is changeable. Now, after the Q&A section, I'll give you 5 key ways you can powerfully apply what you've learned so far today. So make sure you stay for that to get the maximum out of your time investment here. So say, for instance, you're doing this on a regular basis and you're doing it in a full systematic way. What starts to become possible is this. So when you start to shift the hidden conflicts, what tends to happen is you tend to get more clarity. And that's not because you've just figured everything out. It's because you're no longer pulling and pushing yourself in different directions internally. Okay. You'll also get more calm because that internal friction starts to reduce. Because there's a lot of noise, all that scraping and grinding going on internally. And you also become more consistent because you're not constantly stopping, and then you start moving forward, and then you start slowing down, going backwards. And it isn't, and the consistency doesn't happen because you're forcing it. It's basically because things line up. You have that congruence. Like when you're using your own name, you have that strength that allows you to be able to move forward rather than having to push through all the quagmire. And for a lot of people, what they've been trying to get to for years and years and years is just to have that level of congruence and balance. As I've been mentioning in the messages that have been going out via email and on the videos, if you haven't watched the videos, by the way, please do go back and have a look. But the videos and the messages is all about how you could be learning and doing all these different things, but they don't work anywhere near as well as they do when you have that internal congruence, when you have that alignment and have that stability. Then things just become really easy. That's when you get in the flow, when you hit the zone. That's when that alignment happens. Now, sometimes we get that by accident, but what I'm talking about here is when you do it on purpose, deliberately. And we're all born with that level of congruence, and then as life goes on, we start getting those contradictory directives, the different stories about what's right and what's wrong. One person tells us one thing's right, the other person tells us that thing's wrong, and so on. And then that starts pulling us apart, and all those conflicting beliefs and conflicting loyalties. That's where we end up at the moment now. So if we can just reduce all those things, then we just snap back to our natural state, which is to be strong and to be congruent. But let's just make this a little bit more real, because it's easy to talk about words like clarity, confidence, consistency is all great. But what does that actually look like in day-to-day life? So what it looks like is this. You stop second guessing yourself all the time. You make decisions and you actually follow through with them. You don't have that constant background noise of doubt that keeps pulling you in different directions. I should really do this. And you start doing that thing. Oh, wait, no, maybe this other thing I should be doing as well. And maybe this other thing. Yeah. You trust your own direction more and you feel more like yourself again. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we're all familiar with this, where you get a moment, almost that epiphany moment of clarity where you think, wait a minute, why the heck am I doing this when I should be doing this other thing? But you may still do the other thing despite that. Right? And yeah, so decisions become cleaner, action becomes easier, resistance reduces, which also means you save a whole lot of energy. You know, if you're not fighting yourself inside, that then becomes capacity that you can use for other things. Whether that's growing your business, whether that's helping more people, whether that's writing your book, whatever it is, it just means you get more capacity. Your energy levels increase because you're not spending that energy suppressing and hiding and holding down these hidden patterns. And then, of course, the results just become more consistent because you're not undermining yourself and undoing good stuff that you do on the other side. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of how this kind of shows up. There was a client that I worked with who owned a multi-million pound HR firm in the city of London. Now, on paper, she was doing pretty well. We all agree, right? But she came to me because she was seriously considering walking away from the whole thing. Because she said she felt disconnected from it and she was unsure of what she actually wanted and she didn't trust her own direction anymore. And as a result, the business was failing. You know, the constant problems everywhere. And at the same time, she started getting the strong pull towards working with young people and helping them to develop and prepare for the future. But she couldn't see how those two things could coexist, could exist together. So what she had internally was one part saying, leave this and go do something meaningful, and another part saying, but you've spent all your life building this, you can't lose it. And that created exactly what we've been talking about. That hesitation, that second guessing, that lack of clear movement and not knowing which way to go. And of course, if you don't go, you stay still and don't move, the rest of the world moves around you and you get left behind. But once we'd worked through the internal conflict that she had going on, what happened was that she didn't choose one or the other. She managed to find a way to integrate both of them. So she managed to keep her business, but restructured it and opened up a new, completely new side branch to it that was working on going into work with schools and colleges. So instead of losing everything she'd built, she aligned it with what she actually wanted, and everything moved forward from there because she internally got that alignment that externally she could then align the things that were on the outside. And another quick example, I worked with one lady who was very spiritually aware. She'd already done a lot of work, a lot of stuff that was going. I mean, I'd done matrix energetics. She'd been doing stuff that had gone even further off the deep end than that. But in normal day-to-day life, she was still getting overwhelmed really easily, really emotionally reactive, and constantly questioning what's her place, what's her purpose, why is she even here? Right? So there was a big gap between what she understood and how she was experiencing life. And again, it wasn't a lack of knowledge, it was an internal contradiction. Part of her understood things at a deeper level, but another part was still running patterns that just kept pulling her back into that overwhelm. And again, we focused working on the internal conflicts. And once we worked through that, since we've worked through that, now she's much more internally stable. She's much more grounded. And instead of just understanding things, she was able to actually live from that grounded space. And from there, she's gone on to develop her work as a spiritual artist now and built a life that is aligned with exactly who she is now. And I've seen this across lots of different situations. Again, whether it's about business, about relationships, about purpose, is often the same thing that's underneath. There's a hidden contradiction in the system. And what's really interesting is that it's rarely a surface problem. That's just where it shows up. The real shift happens underneath in that contradiction. That's where you have to work with that pattern. And once that resolves, everything else aligns and everything else starts moving again. Is this making sense so far? And what's important to understand here is that what you've just seen is not random, it's not luck, and it's not just insight. It's a process. And what we've done today is just a very small part of what's actually possible. What you've experienced today, it might have given you a shift. You might even feel a little bit more clarity and have a little bit more space. But this isn't the full system. Because even though recognizing and adjusting one pattern is powerful, being able to do this consistently across different areas of your life, that's where everything really changes. So if you're sitting there thinking, this makes sense, I can feel something shifting, and you want to take this further, then the next step is not more information, it's structure. It's having a way to actually work with this properly, consistently, and in real situations. Because this doesn't change your life until you can actually apply it. What people really get from this is not just learning a technique. They get a way to stop fighting themselves. They get a way to work directly with what's actually holding them back without the need to analyze everything or to get stuck in their head. They get clarity without forcing it, and stability without suppressing anything, and movement without that constant internal push and pull resistance. And most importantly, they start to trust themselves again. This kind of change happens when you start working directly with the patterns themselves. Not just understanding them, not just analyzing, but actually working with them at the level where they exist. Because that's where the contradiction is, and that's where it needs to be resolved. And this is where most people get stuck. They understand what's going on, but they don't have a structured way to actually do this properly. And that's exactly why I created the reaction code for hidden conflicts. The reaction code for hidden conflicts is a 16-week program designed to help you systematically identify and clear the hidden inner conflicts that are affecting your results. But more importantly, this isn't something you're doing on your own. You'll be learning the most up-to-date version of this work, not just as an idea, but how to apply it in your real life. And you'll have direct support during the live classes, so you're not stuck and you're not guessing and you're not just going around in circles. You'll also be part of a small intimate group with other people going through the same process, seeing things that you might not see and accelerating how quickly you can learn. And you'll have a feedback loop during the Q&As and a practice session. So when something comes up, you don't just leave it, you end up refining it in real time. Each month, you'll have a live training session where I guide you through the system step by step, and then a live practice Q&A session where you can apply what you've learned in real time. Even though these concepts and practices of the system have been field tested for many years, as I've mentioned earlier, this is the first time I'll be running the program in this form, specifically targeting hidden inner conflicts. So that makes this a beta program. If you join, you'll also be helping me to create what will become an online program for the future. And because you'll be helping me, I'll also include something that I don't normally do at this price point, at this level. What you'll get is an additional one-to-one session with me each month, so that we can work directly on your specific inner conflicts, as well as directly feeding back what's working and what's not working for you. This is what I meant when I was saying you won't be trying to figure this out on your own. You'll have me with you, guiding you through it. So that's 4 additional private sessions. Now, normally private sessions cost £250 each, but you'll be getting those included in this beta program, so you can go much deeper, much faster. And if you join me on this beta program, there's also another exclusive bonus, and that's a one-to-one personal limits breakthrough session. This is where we take one specific area of your life where you've been stuck, blocked, or going around in circles, and we use this system in its entirety to clear what's underneath it. So whether that's hesitation around moving forward, or a decision you've been avoiding, or a pattern of procrastination, or even something around confidence or visibility, we'll work through it properly. So you don't just get to learn the system, you'll actually see it in action and experience what it can do. The reaction code for hidden conflicts beta program begins on Thursday, the 30th of April. So really here, you're not investing in yet another tool. You're removing what's been getting in the way of everything you've been trying to do. You can use the link here to join, and that's thereactioncode.com/hidden conflicts program. Type it into your browser as it's written, as you can see on the screen, or you can use the link that you'll find in the description. I'll leave this available for a short period, so if you are considering it, don't leave it too long. Remember, the program goes live soon. And we're now just going to go into the Q&A section for today's session. So I'm going to completely open it up for the floor. If you've got any questions, whether it's about what we've been doing today, about any of the concepts we've discussed, or about any questions you might have around the program, or whether it might or might not be suitable for you. Now, after the question and answer bit, which will probably be over the next 5 or 10 minutes, then what I'll do is at the end, I'll give you some more ideas and suggestions on how you can take what we've been learning today so far to put it into your everyday life. As I've mentioned, it's not what we've done today isn't the full system. Obviously, there's not enough time to show you the full system here. That's what the reaction code for hidden conflict is about. But you can still create a powerful start to changing the way that you communicate within yourself and with those hidden patterns beyond just using your mind to analyze or think about things. So just hang on for that, and we'll be coming back to that in a few minutes. So, right, so questions in terms of what we've been doing today, or any questions about anything you've noticed or experienced at the moment, or any questions about the program or whether it might or might not be suitable for you. You can either just put your finger up, or there's a little symbol down here somewhere where is it? You can put a hand up. There we go. Anna. Okay, so we'll start with Anna. Yes, I can hear you perfectly now. Yes, go ahead.
That's bizarre. It's one of those nights, isn't it?
I've been having technical stuff all over the place. You would not
Yeah,
believe it's chaos back here.
yeah. Well, hopefully. Well, what I was saying was that it's lovely to see you and lovely to work with you again. Just what I needed at the end of today. And something strange with the kinesiology test for my name,
Mm-hmm.
no strength.
Ah.
And I thought, well, there's something I've been missing. Anyway, I played about a bit. Um, and I included my middle name into my first name
Mm-hmm.
and got strength back.
That's interesting.
So
I,
would you say I need to change my name?
you know what? Let me tell you something about that actually. First of all, I had a client, by the way, it's absolutely lovely to speak to you again as well.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't
thank
acknowledge
you.
that. Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
there was a client I had who her she had one name. Yeah, I won't say the surnames and so on to protect the innocent, right?
yeah.
So she had one name that was Maria, and she had another name that was Gina. Her friends would call her Gina. No, no, sorry, Ginny. That's it. Her friends would call her Ginny, and her family would call her Maria. And she always felt uncomfortable with both of those. And we did a whole lot of work going into identity and all this kind of stuff. That's what we happened to have been working on for her inner conflicts. And it turned out that who she was, or who she thought she was a major problem. Eventually, we actually settled on Gina, and she was perfectly happy with that. But strangely enough, it also meant that when she became Gina, she actually got a lot more things done, which was
Yeah.
really weird. I watched this over time when it occurred. And then for another example of this is my mum.
Wow.
I don't know what her name was originally, but the name that I know her as, well, I did know her as, she's passed away now, but her name was Yan Tai. But she said that when she was young, she was a really sickly child. And she went to a Buddhist nun who then said, well, I know what the problem with this child is. This child's got the wrong name. So they changed her name to Yan Tai. And from that point onwards, she didn't get sick anywhere near as much as she did previously. So,
Wow.
so it's no joke. That whole thing about what we identify ourselves as, if you've got an identity struggle issue there, or you're wondering, how come as Anna, things aren't quite working out as well as they should be? So what's the middle name, Anna?
Marie.
Sorry?
Marie.
Anna. Okay, so Anna, so it might actually be Anna Marie
Yeah.
is the one that needs to move forward.
Yeah, exactly. I think because my mum always told me that she didn't know what to call me, didn't know whether to hyphen it or not, and at the last minute she decided not to.
Okay.
And it's never crossed my mind. Not in all the time we've worked together and done things over the years, decades. And look what's discovered today. Yeah. Well, we've cracked it this evening, I think. I think this is gonna do me a lot of good. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Um, Thank you for that. Just quickly in the chat, Carolyn's asking how much time each day would you need to allocate to practice the reaction code? As with anything, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. But in terms of being able to learn how to tackle your internal conflicts, I would say probably specifically no more than about 15, 20 minutes a day. The main reason I say that is because what I'd be teaching you to do is to start automatically responding to whenever you've got a behavior that doesn't match or whenever you've got a thought that doesn't feel right to you. What I want to be doing in this program is teaching you to immediately start responding with the process. And it's a really simple process. It's similar to what you experienced earlier on. It's just there are a few more parts to be connected to it. So it could literally take, like for instance, if I'm thinking of a hidden pattern for myself, and I'm noticing it round about here, on in or around my body, it's just taking me this long to go to the edge of it, beyond the outside of it, to check if there's any additional layers to it. Is there a backup copy? Yes, no, yes, there is. Where does that go inside that? Empty out that backup copy, come back, recheck. Now, obviously, I know what I'm doing with this, and I've been doing this for a very long time. But what will happen is even just at the end of this program, you'd be able to do it at maybe maybe half that speed. So whenever you run into a pattern, it may actually take you no more than about 2 minutes to actually resolve. And what I want everyone to do as they learn this is go through their normal everyday. As soon as they run into something that they suspect may be an internal conflict. By the way, I'll tell everyone about ways to look out for the internal conflicts, the hidden internal conflicts at the end of the Q&A. When you spot one of those things, you'll immediately go into using the process. So so coming back to the answer, in terms of specifically putting time aside, 20 minutes will do it of practice. But in actuality, what will be happening is as you get further into the program, you'll find yourself doing it all the time. You'll be doing it all through the day. But it won't take you any extra additional time. You don't have to put extra additional time aside. Instead of you getting caught up in thinking about, well, why is this part of my life not working out? Instead of spending the time that you spend thinking that, instead you would spend that same amount of time using the reaction code for hidden conflicts process. So there's no additional time added. You just change the way in which you're currently using your time. But ultimately, obviously, the more practice you put in, the more you'll get out of it. I hope that answers the question. If not, then please feel free to put a follow-up question in there, Carolyn. What's a second or third that since right? So Gareth is saying since using the middle name Sunny, You're noticing you receive better when meeting new people and feeding in yourself. Yeah. But then the interesting thing is, Gareth, how come you're still calling yourself Gareth? Why aren't you Sunny on here? You know what? You know what? I'm going to change that right now. Give me just a second.
Perhaps
Yeah, so
it's
go ahead. Sorry.
perhaps it's because I've only consciously become aware of it right now today.
Yeah.
It was
There we go.
something I noticed, but not practically applied to my life.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Maybe that's something you take away from today as well. So, cool. There you go. You're now Sunny Barker. All right. Karen's asking, is the program the same day each month? Yes, it'll be. And I'm going to be aiming for likely to be, well, the whole program in terms of the calendar dates, because this is going to be a small program. I've only got 8 spaces available, and that's on purpose because of the one-to-one work I'll be doing with people. Later on, when it becomes an open online program, as many people as they like can come in there and watch the videos and then attend the Q&A and so on. But because I'm also working with each person one-to-one as well, I'm limited down to 8 people. So I ideally am aiming for a Thursday or Friday night typically at the beginning of the month, end or beginning of the month, end of one month, beginning of next. And then halfway through that month, there'll be the Q&A. So there's always like something every couple of weeks. And then your one-to-one session fits somewhere in between that as well. So yes, but there will be a schedule. But the reason why I'm not displaying the schedule right now is because when we get those 8 people, I can sit down with everyone and go, right, what suits everyone best? This is what I would prefer, but let's all vote in and see, okay, which day of the week is better for everyone? And then we go with the majority. And this is why I love doing these small sort of like intimate programs as well, because we have a lot of flexibility, being able to move things around as it suits people rather than, it's all going to be on the same. Carol is asking, what time will the lives be approximately? They're going to be around about this sort of time in the evening, 7 p.m. Like, for instance, the first one that's going out is because we've got this bank holiday weekend coming up, which muddles things up a little bit. It's going to be on Thursday the 30th of April at 7 p.m. is where we kick off. That's where we're going to be starting. So usually I do these things around about 7 p.m. because that tends to be people have had time to get home, they've had time to have some dinner, settle in a little bit, and then get on. But equally, it's not going to run into too late a time. Excellent. I just wanted to show you as well, if everyone's been able to use the link that I put onto the chat, and let me just put it on there again because obviously other conversations have come along. What it looks like when you go onto the page is this, and you click on the button, join the reaction code, and then it will take you to this page here. And then you can just choose to either tick the single payment of $3.97 or the one where you pay by installments, which comes up to $4.95 in the end. So if you do the single payment, basically saves you just under £100. So any other questions relating to either what you've experienced earlier on today, any insights or aha moments you've got so far, or questions that you have about the program? What was the main, if anyone wants to offer, what was the main takeaway they've got so far from today? Apart from the names, that seems to be the most popular exercise so far. Go ahead, Karen.
So I wanted to tell you, you've been in my thoughts for the last couple of weeks. I don't, because I've not seen you for a while, and you just kept coming in my thoughts, and then this came up on my emails, and I thought, right, I need to come on here. And then when you just said everything, I thought, that's why they've just guided me. Because I know I'm stuck right now. And I think that's why I thought about you and when I worked with you before. So thank you for that. I've signed up. I didn't even have to think about it. I knew I had to do it. So thank you.
Perfect. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention to everyone as well. I mean, it does say so on the slide. There is a 30-day money back guarantee. If for whatever reason, I mean, as I said, I know most of you here to varying degrees, so I know you're all going to be good at this and be suitable for this. But if for any reason you find that it isn't working for you, then you can just let me know, and I might ask a few questions in terms of finding out what's going on there, because it could well be a hidden inner conflict that's actually stopping you from dealing with the hidden inner conflicts. Because this is the beauty of hidden stuff and fears and things like that. They're very, very good at hiding themselves as something else. They're excellent at pretending to be, fear patterns. I've done this myself. Fear patterns might sound like, oh, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. Oh, maybe it won't work for me. Or maybe lots of those kind of things. A lot of times those will also be examples of those hidden conflicts. That on the other side, you're thinking, yeah, but surely this would work and that would work at a logical level. But the fear thing comes up and makes it pretend to be a whole load of other things. So we would make sure that that wasn't the case, because I wouldn't want you to walk away because the pattern chose for you. But beyond that, once we've had that conversation and checked to find out if it's all about that, if you then still feel, you know what, this definitely isn't for me, this isn't what I thought it was, this isn't doing what I wanted to do, then that's fine. Yeah, we'll just cancel the agreement, give you back any money, or cancel any direct debits if it's an installment thing, and we part friends. That's I'm not in this. I'm not in this work to try and grab a whole load of money off people, because there are lots of much more efficient ways of earning money. This is actually about making sure that as many people as possible are in that space where they're congruent, they have that alignment, and they can go out and do the good in the world that they're supposed to be doing. Most of you will have encountered me or come here because either you'd met me through another course somewhere, or you'd met me at a mind, body, and spirit event, or some other work that you've been doing because you were trying to make more of an impact in the world. So it's always been my thing that I want to try and make an impact in the world, but the way that I see I can do it is by helping other people who want to make an impact in the world. Thereby, I amplify or multiply my reach rather than me just personally trying to do it myself.
Oh, fabulous.
Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you, Dawn. Welcome on board.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to working with you.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Thank you.
There's also the one-to-one inner conflict breakthrough session, and you'll also get that session. Those sessions are normally, I charge over £300 for one of those sessions normally. I do recommend doing it somewhere near the beginning, because then what happens is we can tackle, especially if there's something where you're worried about being able to be successful in the program, then we can tackle that. Or if there's something you've got going on that you think, well, I keep starting things, but I never really finish them, then that's, of course, one of those hidden conflicts. And that's the one that we will go for. I hope that helped to clear things up rather than add more confusion. Sonny, you got your hand up?
The main observation of the practical life application we was using earlier. Like, I went to Egypt recently, and your work 10 years ago got me abroad without anxiety. So I just testify to this, that the more you do it, the more it just becomes like a natural habit. And although the first few days my holiday was testing, I definitely fell back on the lessons. And like you say, they become part of your life habits very easily, don't they?
Yeah, but great. No, but thank you for the vote of confidence and the testimonial. Yeah, I mean, I've seen you go from strength to strength over the time that we've been having our conversations and talking together and doing the bit of work that we have. You've the things that you've moved on to go and do. When I first met you, they would be utterly impossible. There's no way you're going to go challenging professors and challenging world experts and what they think they know about reality. Come on.
Every now and again, I think about looking back on our very first recorded chat, and I bottle out a lot. I've never done it, but I know how much I've improved just in my own congruence. And
oh, that's brilliant. Okay, right. So let's go to what you can do in terms of taking what we've been looking at today and making use out of it. This is how you can query your awareness for those hidden conflicts. Okay. So, number one, when you know what's in your head doesn't match with how you feel. When you've got something like that, that's where there's a hidden inner conflict. And by the way, all of these ones, when I'm talking about hidden inner conflicts, these are ones where you have no idea where it comes from, or you have an idea where it comes from, but you don't know how to get at it. It's like it's slippery. It hides. It keeps ducking behind stuff. Number two, if you have a behavior that won't change despite everything you do to try and change it, that's another clear sign that there's a hidden conflict going on inside. Number three, you can help somebody else, but not yourself with the same problem. Now, sometimes that is because we are literally attached to our problem in a lot of cases, physically, mentally, emotionally. So that can sometimes be a bit of an issue because you are inside the problem. You are part of the same problem. But if you find there's something that you're really good at, and yet you still don't manage to be able to crack it for yourself, that means that there is something going on inside. That's almost kind of saying, it's okay, everyone else deserves the help, but I don't. That's a hidden inner conflict. All right. 4, you feel an internal hard shutdown when you're approaching a difficult subject, even if you want to deal with it. The moment you come to do it, something happens. Literally, something internally either shuts down or you end up having a major problem. The universe throws you a curveball from out of nowhere. Or you just find yourself, you say to yourself, right, tonight I'm going to be working on my book. And then you don't. You're busy watching TV. Even though in the back of your mind is rolling around, I should be writing right now, I should be writing right now, but you still do something else. That then is another very obvious sign that there's a hidden inner pattern going on, hidden conflict pattern. And then finally, the list can go on forever. So this isn't an exhaustive list. This is just some examples. Number 5, you run into an obstacle in your life and you automatically blame something or someone else. Especially when a part of you suspects that there's some avoidance going on there. Even if it's just for a nanosecond, before you get fully into it's all her fault. If only she hadn't said this or hadn't done that. Because that's a great way for that hidden pattern to disguise itself and have you too busy watching over there when it's right here. So when you find your attention being switched over to something that's really emotive, really gets you worked up. Like say, for instance, you say, right, I should be repairing the garden shed this weekend. And then you watch something on the news and you get all into a froth about the world situation. And then you go and have a Twitter war with someone. That's another example where your inner conflict shifted you onto the wrong set of tracks. But it's a set of tracks that moves quickly. So you're already going that direction before you can stop yourself. So that's another really, really good sign that there's a hidden inner conflict there. So in all those above cases, notice where you're feeling the reaction and the response to it, and just instruct your awareness to show you that energy, and then just turn your attention to it. Just be curious, just follow it. Let that pattern lead you deeper into it. Think of it like a magical mystery tour. You're just following wherever that goes and wherever that takes you. And if it shows up as another thing and you feel something else in your body and you follow that, just keep doing that. And just from today onwards, if you set the intention and commit to yourself that you're going to communicate with those hidden internal conflicts rather than run from them or suppress them or hide like you've been doing up until now, if you do that, then you may well have made the single most important shift towards freeing yourself from internal hidden conflicts. And with that, that's all we've got time for this evening. So beyond that, I'd like to say a big thank you for being here, and thank you so much for your time, your attention, for going through the exercises with me, for staying on till here. And for those of you who've joined on the program, of course, as well, really looking forward to working with you.